Welcome back. This story is called In the Food Court with Jimmy Carter. This happened to me when I was in my 20s. I was in the Denver airport. I had been visiting my sister who lives in Colorado, and I was flying back through Denver back to Los Angeles. It was lunchtime. So I was in the food court, walking around, trying to decide what I wanted to eat. It was very crowded. I mean, there's just people everywhere. You couldn't even get up to the counters. You had to go through a bunch of people. So I'm kind of meandering my way through the food court, deciding, what it is that I want to eat for lunch. And I turn around like this, and standing right in front of me, literally this close to me, was Jimmy Carter, former president of the United States. And he's standing there, and he's holding a tray with some food on it that he must have ordered from one of these counters. And I looked at him, and I said to myself, this guy was a former president of the United States. In this entire airport, you're telling me there's not one VIP lounge? This poor guy had to stand in line like everybody else to get his food? And he's standing there, just like I said, he's just like this holding his food. And I happened to have a camera on me. And I said, Mr. President, can I take your picture? And he said, yes. And he smiled. So I've got this picture. I don't have it anymore. This picture somewhere of Jimmy Carter smiling, holding his tray. I felt so bad for the guy. Well, immediately after that, he disappeared. So somebody must have realized that Jimmy Carter should not be mingling amongst the public to eat his lunch. And they took him to some VIP lounge, I guess. It turned out he was on the same plane that I was on. It was a big plane, one of those planes that has 3 seats, level, like 3 rows of seats, one on one side, there's a middle row, and then the other side. He was in first class. The pilot, before we left, the pilot announced that Jimmy Carter was on the plane and said, and this was before COVID, many years before COVID, he said that it is Jimmy Carter's practice to shake hands with every single person on the plane whenever he traveled. So we sat there for like 20 minutes, and Jimmy Carter went all the way down every aisle and up every aisle, shaking hands with every single person on the plane. And then he sat down and we left. And while we were in the air, I heard this man who was sitting somewhere in the middle, wasn't sitting in first class. I heard him talking to somebody, and I heard him say, "I'm Chip." Well, Chip was Jimmy Carter's son when he was in the White House. He was just a kid. And now that he's grown, he's traveling with Jimmy Carter. But for some reason, he wasn't in first class, but Jimmy Carter was. And that's the story of In the Food Court with Jimmy Carter. Don't forget to read my book, Broccoli Time by Dante, available on Amazon Books, the best parenting book you'll ever read.